So you know what? We're just gonna start and worry about that afterwards.
Okay, right
Truth
now,
is,
here we
well,
go.
right now, dude, Lord of Music, how are you?
Fine, and
Thank you
you?
very much first, and I mean it. Thank you very much for saying yes to this because well, I've had it in my head to do this for a while now, just doing not so much interviews, but having chats with some of the people I've met over the years, because I've met a lot of very talented, not just musicians but artists in general, and just very cool people. And one of the regret I have is I never actually got time to properly have a conversation with them. I know we've chatted, we've met before. You came here when you were visiting Ireland, but I never had the chance. We chatted, but there was always other people. There's always a bit of alcohol involved, so it's never a proper conversation. I do miss that. So thank you very much.
I like this kind of conversation. Thanks to you for inviting me.
No
That's
problem, no
perfect.
problem. And what prompted me to do this? You're the first guest in whatever it's going to be called. I have absolutely no idea what to call this, but we'll worry about that afterwards. But yeah, you're the first guest, and what prompted me to do this with you is you really recently had some misfortune with YouTube. I think your channel.
Like many others.
Yeah, it's been a recurring conversation online with a lot of YouTubers. And it's usually, you expect that for smaller YouTubers, like around the 1,000 subscriber sort of threshold or above. But I mean, you're not. We're all small channels, but you have very close to 5,000 subscribers. So you'd expect some. Some momentum from that, and yeah, you got the email
Yeah,
recently, which is breaking my heart actually.
yeah. It starts to be like a number you can find pretty high actually already. Like especially for us, like video gamers, musicians. I mean, because yeah, we have a lot of folks right on YouTube, and that's not very easy to find our place. So yeah, 4 or 5 thousand is already a pretty big number in my head for that for what we do. So yeah, I understand when you say it's already not that bad, and that YouTube may have some kind of way to I don't know, considering us as normal channel.
Yeah, I think the idea for them
So
was to, you know, have some control over some of whatever spam channels or some, there's all they say they mention hate speech and all that kind of stuff. But the
that's what the
unfortunate,
mail says actually. But
yeah, the unfortunate side effect is that a lot of channels like yourself, like a few other VGM musicians, have been demonetized. And I know, I mean, we all say it's never about the money, but it's always a good encouragement and goal, when especially when you're making a few bucks to
yeah, it's about the principle,
yeah,
what it means, what it shows from YouTube, from how they considering us. So it's more about that. You're right about the money. It's absolutely not the problem for small channel like ours, because it's, yeah, can pay some strings for the guitars from time to time, and
yeah,
that's all. That's not that big of an issue. The problem is more about how it's viewed, and how can you understand that way of thinking from YouTube.
yeah, and like for people to realize how little money there is involved in this. I mean, so I have very close to 30,000 subscribers. I think the get home money from that, from just ads on YouTube, is probably $50 for me. It's not a lot of money.
For how much time? For how many time?
How many views a month?
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe close to 100,000 views a month. I'm not sure.
yeah.
Like, so
It
it's not
just seems very very little.
yeah, there's not much money to be made just from views from video music anyway. So I
No,
think it's not that.
absolutely
It's more the
not.
principle, like you said. It's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people stop YouTube
Well,
altogether.
I think one of the major problem is actually YouTube released a video about all this new system, and how we small channel shouldn't take it bad, and like it's a good thing for everybody. That kind of commercial
Yeah,
discourse. So the fact is
you can swear.
they
It's okay.
Okay, I keep that in mind. So the fact is, one of the thing that they say in the video is that what they do right now has absolutely nothing to do with the recent issues they get, like with people, some like Logan Paul,
Yeah.
or like shitty content that may have some issue with some people and create debate and stuff like that. So they say that there's absolutely not correlation between both. But one of the major issue right now is, in fact, they did it at the same time. Like, it's very bad timing for that. And of course, like, many people are starting to be very pissed about people like him making, beginning to be a very important person on
Yeah.
this platform, and what people want to see, all that kind of stuff. Like,
He's been trending a lot, his videos are trending constantly, so yeah.
and that's the issue, because they do that at the same time. So of course, for people like you and me and the guys that are impacted by the new limitation and the fact that they are thinking of the YouTube Partner program, it's not a good sign. No, it's not a good message sent by YouTube, and it's of course gonna create some demotivation in the people. It depends on for what you are going. Excuse me. Take it again. It depends for what you want to go to YouTube. I mean, I do that for my fun first, and then I try to do something funny to watch. And yeah, I have a small community and very happy with that. It's very, very friendly situation for me. And I mean, it's fine for me. I don't need more in the end. But you know what I mean? It's not creating a good environment. You just don't have to. You just don't want to do that anymore if you see behaviors like that. That's one of the major issues for me.
Yeah, especially considering how big the gap is between somebody like that and people like us. It's like I said, like most of his videos are trending at some point in time, and they do say. I mean, you sort of hinted at it. They do say there's no direct correlation, but of course there has to be. There's no way this is innocent. That he did what he did, and advertisers are probably pissed off again, so they have to do something. Of course, it is linked.
Well, the problem is creating this new limitation, like the 4,000 hours. If I remember well, that's the number. I mean, you don't implement that in one day on YouTube. I mean, it must have been something they discussed weeks ago before Logan Paul. So I may be able to understand and believe that, but like you said, it's just bad timing. They should have delayed it or something. They just can't send message like that. I think it's a very, 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 very big mistake.
What's interesting is that number. Is it 4,400 hours, isn't it?
4,000 hours, I think.
Yeah, something like that. But
like 240,000 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, it just seems arbitrary in some extent. I don't see why that number, like nothing. They don't really explain any of it. Why that?
Especially since it's not just and especially since it's not fair from what you do. I mean, we are the first impacted because we are doing videos that takes a lot of time to make, like maybe 30 hours sometimes, to a result of 3 minutes. And of course, if you do pranks or stuff like that, like many it can be very long with very few edition. So of course you can do that. It's pretty clear now that YouTube just wants you to make some regular and long content. Like, that's what they want. Actually, that's what works best. I think for them, and that's what they want you to do. Like, they can encourage you for musicians like us, like making of or recording or new video that we could make more often and maybe longer. And I don't want to do that because they say you to make it. I just want to make what I want. That's what the point. That's how it was at first. When it was just a video platform. It's only that, a video platform. I don't want to be a YouTuber. Yeah, I do videos. That's all. I don't know if you see what I mean.
I absolutely understand
with this idea.
Yeah. No, I completely understand what you mean. I mean, the premise of YouTube initially was broadcast yourself, and that was the idea. If you're a creator of any form of artistic content, that was going to be the platform, and unfortunately, it's been taken over by a lot of vlog stuff and a lot of prank channels and
Yeah.
things that doesn't actually take much time or artistic content or artistic endeavor to produce. And we're the first ones to suffer from that, because that's the untold truth about a cover. It takes weeks or days at least, but it takes weeks to produce a good quality cover. Like I don't want to talk too much about me, but I work on multiple covers at once, because if I only worked on one at a time, it would take me too long to produce just one. So
That's what I do,
yeah,
actually.
I have to work on multiple. So it takes weeks. If to just do one cover, it takes weeks for a very, very small video. So
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's normal that you can find many kinds of videos on YouTube. Like, I don't have anything against pranks. If some people
I
want to
do.
watch it, it's yeah, I understand. It depends on the kind of pranks, actually. But I mean, okay, I have to admit, like the glowing knife, it was a funny thing to watch at some point. You don't. It doesn't have to be a very complicated and very a video that took many hours to make. That's gonna be some of these videos are not bad. I mean, it's just depending of what people want to watch, and I strongly believe that you can have many different content on YouTube, and that's fine. The problem is right now that they are gonna making some standards you have to follow, and if you don't follow that, you out just like that.
Yeah. I do have a thing against pranks in general, and prank channels. Um,
Say
but
me about it.
yeah, but
Tell me about it.
yeah, I don't. I think yeah, it just breaks my heart to see so many channels just losing motivation I like yourself. You've said you're not stopping videos out. Just because of that.
No,
It's not
because
the
it
issue.
doesn't change anything in the end. So
But I've seen a lot of YouTubers, especially in the retro, well, in the vlogging community, a lot of people have stopped altogether. Uh, but I've seen a lot of retro channels deciding, they weren't going great to start with, but that was the last straw for them. The fact that it was completely demonetized.
they
Because whatever
stop, they quit.
they quit, yeah. I know of 5 channels at least that have done that, and I don't know a ton of YouTubers, but yeah, it just breaks my heart that because it was something
That's
they were
sad.
hanging on to, and again, it wasn't about the money, it wasn't about the like $10 they were making a month, or like, probably less actually, it was probably 5. But you know what I mean? It was the fact that it was there as an incentive to keep going and continue, and I know they were very passionate about what they're doing, and they've stopped. That was the last straw for them. Just crucify them, and that's
Yeah,
it.
and sometimes passion is not it's not sufficient. You at least you have to have some kind of recognition. And
Yeah,
what they do actually is quite the opposite.
yeah.
So I
Because when
understand
you're
totally this idea of demotivation.
when you're an artist, when you're producing artistic content, and that's whether you're doing music or art, painting or comedy or anything like that. I mean, you need that incentive to keep going, or that recognition. Like I know you have to do it because you love it, but you also need that just person recognition from other people and from the platform you're putting your art on, because it's a very,
Yeah, it's
very
made to be heard and seen. So
yeah, and it's a
yeah,
very, very personal thing to say. I know it's cliche, but you put some of yourself into that content, and to have it dismissed by a platform as just no, actually, we're not gonna help you. We're just gonna help that guy that just throws dwarves in the swimming pool. I mean, how just fucked up is that?
yeah,
Um,
I understand what you're saying.
yeah, it's heartbreaking, really. Yeah.
The fact is, it's not quite different of what we already seen on TV, or
No.
that's the issue as well. Like, it's another way, another platform, another uh, new big ideas that's just becoming like all the old ideas that turned up fucked up, you know.
Yeah, you and I
And,
had this conversation briefly a while back. It's YouTube has become the new TV, really, and the content we're seeing on YouTube was the reason I stopped watching TV about 20 years ago. I know you don't watch much TV either, but yeah, it's.
yeah, not at all as well. Only 5 years now. But
I don't own a TV set.
I'm pursuing your records.
I don't own a TV set, so I can't.
Yeah, I have one only for PlayStation. You know, it's my. I don't have antenna. I don't have
Yeah,
TV
okay.
TV box or
Yeah,
something
we can
like that.
we can
It's
watch
just,
Netflix on PS4. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the. I have a Chromecast. That's the only visual thing I watch with Blu-rays and
Yeah,
stuff
I
like that.
think
Only
the only-
movies. I mean, no TV program.
Yeah, I think the only thing we watched on Netflix in general was we watched a lot of documentaries, but it was the only series we really watched was Stranger Things.
I like it too. Very great atmosphere.
Yeah,
I must admit, I don't watch many, but there's some very, you know, gold. I don't know the term in English, but I mean, anyway, some masterpiece. You know,
Yeah.
right now I know I'm late from like 5-6 years. I don't know, but we are finishing right now another TV show called Breaking Bad, which is absolutely brilliant for any
I know.
points. I know it's well made, it's well written, it's beautiful,
Yeah,
good ideas.
I have a problem with Breaking Bad.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Yeah, no,
that's the point. You know, we have to love what we love, and anybody got different tastes, but
Yeah.
in the end, it's just an artistic production. So,
Yeah. Yeah, Fiona.
what don't you like in it?
Fiona watched it actually. She really enjoyed it, and she kept saying I should watch it. And I tried to watch it. I do have I have a problem with shows that sort of glorify drugs in general.
Then you have to keep watching because it's totally the opposite. You know, it's
No, when I
it
say,
shows a monster. That's all.
yeah, when I say glorify, I mean even try to depict how bad it is, because it's actually nowhere near the reality. Like I've seen up close, you know, the effects of it. So yeah, I do have a problem with any show.
Yeah, I understand. Actually, it's not the main topic of the
I know,
of the
no,
TV
I
show,
understand, I
but
understand.
I totally understand what you're saying right
It's-
now because
I'm probably depriving myself of a very good show on that basis, but it's a personal thing with it.
if you don't enjoy it because of that, I mean, it's perfectly fine. I mean, there's far
Plenty.
more than enough
Yeah.
TV show you can enjoy. In
But
the,
no,
in the end.
Fiona loved it. She kept saying I should watch it. She's watched it all. She really enjoyed it. I don't have an agenda for this really. I just wanted to chat first about YouTube, but I do have a few questions though. There's something I've been wondering. Your name is Lord Biff Music on YouTube.
Yeah, or Lord, if I try to get rid of the music sometimes, but maybe it's too late because of the.
My question wasn't so much about the music
what
part
it
of
is.
things, but about
Yeah.
Lord Biff. Where did that come from?
It's funny. It's always the first question.
Really?
It's not that. Yeah, it's just an old joke. I mean, when I was young, you know, my father was in the army, and we moved a lot around France, and so every time, every 3-4 years, it's like new friend, new school, new part of France, stuff like that. So you have to relearn everything. And one time, I was in high school. My new friend there started to use some, you know, there's some words that are very specific to a place. And oh, what does it mean? I don't know what it is. And they started to make fun of me by inventing new words, you know. And beef was one of that. They say it's like, oh, you are so beef. It's like, oh, you're so classy or something.
Oh, really?
It was just fun. They just make fun of me. That's all. So I kept it.
Never heard that actually. Beef.
No, I mean, it means money in French, but like a slang for money. But,
Really?
I didn't know. We didn't know this word at this time. So
French is
in the end, they just kept it for my surname, and I kept it. That's all.
French and France is very interesting. So the two of us are native French speakers, which is kind of weird because we have to talk in English for the purpose of this.
Yeah,
But-
I assume you understand my accent in the end. But,
But no, France is very interesting because so many colloquialism. according to very, very like small areas. Like you could be from one county to another, or one state or whatever you want to call it in English, but one small area to another. Some of the words that you used can actually change quite drastically, or some of the usage.
You think so?
Yeah, well, that's an example. Like this word, especially in schools, there's words that kids would have said in another school in the next village that I had no idea. But
Yeah, I think you're right for like kids and high schoolers, but yeah, it's just slang, it doesn't stay long. And in that case, they just invented it just for me,
well, it's
So,
slang,
but
slang
I
is language.
understand.
Language is usage. Like that was what I studied in college.
Yeah,
was,
okay.
linguistics and regional language.
But does it stay in the end? I mean, the words you are using in high school, many of them is just for a few years now, and after they disappear.
Well, they disappear from your language because you move on, but you'll find out that they actually stay in the school. Yeah.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, and language is usage. That's all it is. I mean, you can actually try to codify and fix it in the dictionary, but that's why they have to revise the dictionary regularly. It's
It's a living thing. It's evolving, and
yeah, living language. So yeah, it's all down to usage. So if something is used, then it becomes a natural part of the lingua. And France is very interesting. I've never seen that in Ireland. Although Ireland is very interesting in the sense that it has a diversity of accents for such a small country. It's crazy. Like you have so many different accents. You've been around Ireland a good bit, actually. You've done quite a journey. Was it from did you go north or south? I can't remember actually.
By north, but not that far on the north because we didn't have time to go to North Ireland. I mean the country. But we went to a little port. I don't remember the name. Sligo maybe.
Sligo.
North of Sligo.
That's one of our major cities here. Sligo.
No, another city. Sorry for that. Sorry about that.
Port.
It's north of Sligo. There's a little port. I don't remember the name. You told me about the racing guys and the racing kids or something like that. I don't know if you remember that, but in the end, just
was it Strida or Mullickmore?
I need to check.
Yeah, they have a big, giant big wave in Mullickmore. It's one of the.
You understand well the surfing part.
Well, yeah.
It was Donegal.
In Donegal, yeah.
Just pretty little. But yeah, you're right about that because every day it was a new city and every day it was a new accent to understand. I must admit, first I'm not good with accent myself, but understanding accent is not very easy for me either. So
an Irish accent, especially if you stayed out of cities mostly, so you hit the country quite a bit, and country accents can be they can be tough.
Yeah, a little, but they are very, very friendly, so that was fine. They were patient with us, so that was fine.
I'm just kidding. I have the ability to put stuff here. This is the wave in Mullickmore.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this is actually small for it. This is crazy.
You saw it?
I've been there.
With your eyes?
I haven't surfed it. I'm not that crazy. I tried to surf a big wave at the Cliffs of Moher once, and
Cliffs of Moher? Okay.
Yeah, it's not for me. It's a stunning place.
It's pretty dangerous because of the cliffs.
Yeah, don't fall. Yeah.
And that's all.
Yeah. Sorry. I was listening actually recently to your cover. This is.
No, it's mine.
It's yours, yeah. This is. Do you mind if I actually play it for a second? This is actually my favorite cover.
It's a. It's a very old one because I just hear all the default now, but you can play it if you want.
That's what we hear. I'd never listen to my own covers. I never do.
I started to like it. It's not that I like it, but I tolerate it at some points. At the point I have a pretty okay mix in my ears.
Yeah, I kind of have to listen to it after maybe a month or two. I can go back to it and go, oh, okay. Yeah. No, that's all right, actually.
Yeah, it's exactly that. The first few days, I just hate it.
Yeah, the reality is when you make them, you get to a point where you go, okay, I can't do better. so I can't do better at this stage. I'm gonna release it. It doesn't mean that you love it or you're entirely happy
No.
with it. It's just that you've understood that you can do better. And
Insane in the Raid talked about it recently on Twitter, actually.
really, and it takes
Yeah.
a while. It takes a while for you to get to terms with first your own limitations and everything you did wrong in that cover. That most people can't really hear, but you hear it because you know what
Yeah,
you're making there.
absolutely.
But this one is I love it. You got it actually. It's just bang on. It's so cool. I don't know if can you hear it?
Yeah,
That
sure.
works.
No, I don't. I don't hear it. Sorry, but I assume you're recording funny parts.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But that's fine. I remember how it is.
Yeah. Anyway, if people want to check it out, Lord Biff Music is your channel on
Thanks.
YouTube. Check it out. You're just short of 5,000. Really, go subscribe to him, guys, because it's lovely stuff. I love your Walking Dead as well cover. That was really,
Oh yeah.
really cool.
Same. It's very old. I mean, I evolved a lot. I think since then. But yeah, it
I know,
was
like people
maybe the
often,
first two one I liked in the end. So
yeah. People often quote stuff I've done like 3 years ago, and I'm going, like I'm much better now. Like it's, but
that's what I think
at the end of
sometimes.
the
But
day,
you know, I still have a lot of views on The Walking Dead actually.
yeah,
Maybe because it's easy to find with the search engine,
there's
probably.
that as well, yeah.
But yeah, it's still working quite well. I'm surprised.
You play a lot of different instruments as well. What's your first instrument?
Basically, drummer. Drum is my main instrument, but I had to switch to guitar pretty early when I couldn't train myself. Just rehearsal at home because of the drum is very
Yeah.
bad for the neighbors.
Yeah.
But yeah, main instrument is drums and mainly guitar too. Now
So
I think
you
guitar and drums is my main instrument.
you started with drums then.
No, I started with I don't know the English name for viol de gambe.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
a
know if you know this instrument.
viola.
Viola, yeah. What kind of viola? Like an old one with frets. It's like a baroque
Yeah,
instrument.
this is probably a name I actually don't know. Yeah, it's
Yeah, probably. But yeah, it's a baroque. Like the clavecin is same on the same era and stuff like that. Not exactly the instrument you want to play when you have 7, but my mother was fond of it and drum. What do you mean? It's out of question. Never gonna play drum, my son. So I had to play that. I played trumpet and played tuba when I was young, and then I quit music because I hated it.
of course
because it wasn't
you were
drums,
young,
you know.
yeah.
But I wanted to play drums, so I was forced to play instrument that I didn't like. So, I mean, I'm happy my parents wanted me to learn music in the end, but I had to wait for my high school years to go back to it again, and very enjoying it this time. I don't know if you understand that kind of process, but I
Yeah.
don't know what instrument you tried at first yourself. So
Were you taking lessons, like formal lessons? Was it structured in a formal sort of environment with a teacher, and you had to learn reading, writing music in that sort of fashion? Did you?
I did, yeah, in conservatory.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the name in English, but
Yeah.
yeah, in English music school.
Yeah.
So
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, and that can be very, very off-putting, especially for a young kid.
it's pretty hard, actually. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a better way because in the end it kind of works, I assume, but
See,
it's complicated.
especially we're talking about classical music here in a way, and there is a requirement because of the way it's performed, and so, because and it gets to very high level, so obviously you have to read it. But I've always said that music is like speaking or language. You when you were
Absolutely.
young, you could speak long before you could write or read. So there's no reason why you can't be a musician and not be able to read or write
Yeah,
music.
I understand
can't,
what you're saying.
I can't write music. I can't read music. Well, I can write. Sorry, I can compose, but I can't read or write
A score, you mean?
score. Yeah, I've never been able to, and I've managed for 30 years just by ear, and I've learned stuff on different types of scales and modes, and just by ear, but I think it's as important a training as writing, reading music, and I think very early when kids try to learn music, too much emphasis is put on formalizing the music.
Too much at the same time to learn, maybe.
Yeah, it's a very very different exercise, and I understand the motivation is just because it's so complicated and hard. You have to start young and do it in a structured fashion, but I think it's a wrong. It's not wrong because it worked for some people. It worked for a lot of people, in fact. But for most people, it's actually
I'm not
putting them
very
off.
fond of it myself. So,
Yeah, it's
I
putting them
understand
off
what
music,
you're
and
saying.
what you have is what happened to you. You stop, and then you get back to it on your own
There's a
terms.
lot making. Yeah, I was happy that I could go back in the end, but I'm pretty sure that many people just drop and never go back again and are sick of music for the rest of their lives, which is absolutely sad, in my
People who start
opinion.
learning
But,
piano, so many I've met here in Ireland stopped because
always a piano,
yeah,
that instrument.
yeah.
It's a very hard instrument, I think, in the end.
It's a
So,
very unrewarding instrument to learn because you have to be very very good to get anything done.
that's the worst, actually. The violin
Oh, the
and
violin
cello
is a fucker.
is the worst.
Yeah.
Because before enjoying it, making just a good sound, it takes so much time for you and for your parents and for your neighbors,
Yeah.
actually, because
Mastering
it's a
any
very very
instrument
rewarding
is
instrument.
mastering any instrument is hard. You know, it takes a lot
Yeah.
of work. You know, you probably get
Always.
comments in your covers. You know, I wish I could do what you do or something like that. It's like, well,
Sometimes, yeah.
it's a lot of being in my room and not getting laid. That's what it takes.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
I totally can relate.
Yeah,
It
that's
was a lot of time. It was my main pastime in the end, and video game, of course. But yeah, music in video game. But yeah, it's exactly that. It was a lot of practice in the end. When you are forced to do it, it can't be good. I know. I mean, when you have to go to school and then you have to go to do that, in the end, what do you have left? I mean, it's too much for a kid. I think. I don't know.
yeah.
It's an interesting question, but I don't know if there's any idea of changing ways you are teaching music.
I don't know
what
either,
else
but
people-
it's always been my answer. Like you could speak as a kid. You could speak quite well and be understood by everybody long before you could write or read.
Yeah, you could
I-
try to learn the basis of an instrument before learning theory.
Yeah, and painting is the same.
Like-
You find a lot of people who can paint instinctively well and draw instinctively well.
Absolutely.
And if there are no formal training of proportion or perspective or anything like that.
And it doesn't have to be. I mean, the first lesson of music is that actually, when you are very young, it's just some percussions, or claves or
Yeah,
thing like that. But I don't think it's enough. You go to theory far too early. In the
yeah,
end.
no, I agree. I think, yeah, especially when you're a kid, you should be let experiment and play. You do need to learn some rules, I think, because obviously you can't just be let loose. in but yeah, you need to understand the basic chord progression and triads and modes
Yeah.
but that can come afterwards. But the part of just having to sight read, I have to say I'm always impressed by people who can just they're given sheet music and they can just start playing.
Yeah,
almost
I'm not
perfectly.
able to do that.
Yeah, and it's like there's another YouTuber, Jackson Parody.
Oh, he's a genius.
Oh, he's a freak. You know what? I'd love to actually do one of these with him at some point. That'd be
Oh, yeah.
pretty cool.
It would
He's a
be
very
great.
interesting guy,
You
actually.
should-
Very interesting guy.
Yeah. I met him too. I was very happy to meet him.
Yeah, you went to the States a few times as well.
Yeah. I had the chance to meet him in Orlando. It was great to meet him. Very very interesting guy. Very funny as well.
Yeah.
Like in the videos, like in Twitch.
I watch his Twitch stream every now and then. I usually say hi and stay for about half an hour.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm not very into Twitch actually as a viewer. I don't do that. Many
Yeah,
often.
it's time again. I mean, it's the same reason I don't watch TV. It's just like I'm always.
I really
doing something.
don't have time to watch every YouTube video, so
I
Twitch
barely
is-
have time to play games at these moments. So.
yeah, life and stuff.
Yeah. So the we'll call it viola was your first instrument then,
Yeah,
and then you.
But-
You
not for
stopped.
long. Yeah, I moved again, and strangely, you can find viola lessons everywhere in France. It's very
Really?
specific, so yeah. So I had the possibility to change, but still not drum. So it was for trumpet at this time. I still very bad at every wind instrument. Actually, I was never able to play it properly. So yeah,
Really?
like 1.5 years of trumpets. I switched to tuba, which was pretty fun actually, but still not good and not enjoying it. And then I quit. And a few years after that, I wanted to go back to music, and then my mother was so happy that she let me do percussions, not only drum, percussion. So I learned timbales and the vibraphone, marimba. So I'm very happy because of that.
So
But
you wanted to do just percussion, or she just
I
pushed?
was 14, I wanted to play drum and rock and roll. That's all. But in the end, I played
And it's good to
orchestral
hit stuff, like.
percussions. Yeah, I played orchestral percussion as well because it was part of
Yeah,
percussion family lessons. So in the end, it was a very good experience. I'd love to have a vibraphone, by the way, but it's far too big
it's big.
and
Yeah, it's
far too
big
expensive as
noise.
well. But
And
I'd love
how old were you
to
then
listen to
when
it.
you started playing drums?
14, 15 maybe.
Okay, so you started music pretty young then.
The viola, the theory, it was like at 6,
Wow.
7. But
Were your
I
parents
started
musicians?
enjoying it at 14. My mother was a music. She's a music. She's a, how can I say it? She
Is she
wasn't.
a
She's
teacher?
not anymore a musician teacher, but she learned musicology at the
Okay,
university,
yeah.
things like that. She was very into music, but very specific. Like very, she's fan of baroque for
Yeah,
like as you can say.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
viola would.
in the end, it's a chance because I was lucky enough to actually start in music in the end. I know it wasn't always easy when I was young, but in the end,
Yeah,
maybe if I hadn't had that, I wouldn't be on YouTube today with music.
yeah. You don't necessarily appreciate when you're a kid how lucky you are to have different experience. Like you just want to, I don't, play rock and roll
Yeah,
or watch Logan Paul. Um,
I wasn't like that
but
already. I
yeah,
don't know if there's some stuff like that on TV when we are young, but
no, there wasn't much TV. There's only 4 channels, was there, in France?
yeah, something like
Yeah.
that.
How old are you?
I'm 30 now.
Okay, yeah, yeah, well, yeah, it
I
wasn't.
had 6 channel.
There
I
was,
had
yeah,
6 channel.
yeah. I just,
I
I,
didn't want to say it's to
I
not to
think
show
I had
your
three
age.
for a while because there was the fourth channel, Canal Plus, wasn't around actually when I was
Oh,
younger.
oh,
And
okay.
only I remember that being born. Um, yeah,
Antenne 2, maybe the second
yeah,
channel,
yeah.
like the old name.
One, two, and three. That's all we had actually. Three channels.
Okay.
It's fucking crazy. Yeah, I was born in '75, so you know.
You didn't had Dragon Ball Z or stuff like that in the end.
Well, I was. How old would I've? Was I 16 or 17 when? Yeah, Dragon
Oh,
Ball
it's a
Z.
good age in the end for that.
Well, yeah, it wasn't bad. I was sort of getting out of all the anime. Like my animes would have been like Cobra,
Ah, yeah,
Joyce,
Cobra.
that kind of
I
stuff. That
see.
kind of era, like a Dorothy show, um, which is a French show that was very popular back then. Club Dorothée and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. But I would have been, yeah, I would have been a teen by then. So when Dragon Ball Z came out, I watched the first Dragon Ball series, really enjoyed it, and when Dragon Ball Z came out, I started, I missed all of that period because yeah, I was starting to be interested in girls and other things, so I wasn't watching much TV or even playing much games at the time. Um, I was doing more music and surfing and just trying too hard to be cool. So
Playing guitar and
yeah,
yeah,
it's only afterwards actually I caught up on all the a lot of animes I missed, and then yeah.
yeah,
But
I
what was I
understand.
saying? So the guitar came much later then.
It came when I wanted to play a chromatic instrument again with notes, not only percussions, because weirdly, I missed that, and I wanted to have an instrument I could play like much more often, because at first I didn't have drum because of course it's a very big instrument at home, so I had to go to the school to learn to practice it. And when I had one, we had some neighbors, so it was the same. I couldn't practice it as much as I wanted, and that was at the time I was very interesting into music and wanted to to play all in the end. I was discovering hard rock at the same time, so it was like a new whole world that I was discovering. I was a fan of Iron Maiden at this moment, and I wanted to play it all. So I wanted a guitar, and so my parents bought me a very shitty classical guitar. I still have with me, actually. That's the one I use in The Last of Us. Actually, It sounds as shit, but yeah, it's my classical guitar.
I did a video recently about how you can make shit music with instruments, but
I saw it. I saw it with a little pink guitar.
A bit of work, and then you can actually get the pink guitar. With a bit of work, I mean, most instruments are okay.
I had to make some. Yeah. In the end, it's not that bad. I mean, there's some intonation problems. There's some buzzing problems, but issues. Sorry, but in the end, I managed to record it multiple times, and I don't see any reason to change actually.
Yeah, so, I get often asked like what type of banjo is. People want to know what type of banjo to buy, and I can say it's just buy one. Buy the cheapest in the shop. Play it, and then if you really, really like it, buy a better one. But just really buy the cheapest one.
Yeah.
My first banjo I still have.
At first, no need for a high-end instrument at first.
No, my first banjo I still have. In fact, that's the one I used up to, like, I don't know, I did about 20 covers with it. It was the cheapest one in the shop. You just work around the instrument, you make it work. And it's part of the learning curve. If you get a very good instrument, you don't get to appreciate your own technique as well, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. It takes time to at least in understand your instruments. So yeah, I mean, when you have a shitty instrument, in the end, you have to tweak it to take some time to make it sound like you want. And in the end, you understand better not only how to play it, but actually how it's made and how you can take the best of it. And I think it's a very interesting part in playing an instrument, like just understanding it's not only playing it,
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Like, well, if I look at my collection here, I only have one high-end instrument, and it's two actually now. It's my bouzouki and my new banjo. I say new, but I've had it for 2 years, so that's the one most people see on the channel. But they're about $1,000 each, but everything is like €100. They're pretty.
Yeah, I understand what you're doing right now, and I'm the same. I mean, I'm really into the best quality for the price. So I try to spend not that much first, because music, especially when you want to play everything, it's expensive. So always try to find it, like the banjo for no, not the banjo, sorry, the bongos. I don't have to buy very, very expensive bongos, especially if you don't have to play it in every cover and stuff like that. So you just take the cheapest one, you tweak it, and in the end it works.
Yeah, the truth is most people won't tell the difference anyway. They will not understand the difference in sound. You probably won't, because you're not experienced in that instrument to start with.
And I'm not that sure, actually.
Yeah. Really?
Because you have to mix it after a while, and so if you just think your guitar is very lack of middle ends.
Yeah, you can.
It's okay. You just add an EQ, and that's all. You see what I mean?
Yeah, no, I was going to say that afterwards, and I've said, and anyway, you can tweak it and modify it in post-production afterwards, so I know it's not quite the same, and it like a fine guitar will still sound better than a middle of the range guitar with very, very fine tuning and post-production, but you can get very close to it.
The playing as well.
Yeah, you can get very close to it in post-production. Not right there, but close enough that
for YouTube it's enough. You don't need more,
because so much is lost in compression afterwards, and in YouTube file formats and all this kind of stuff, and in the mix as well. you'll be surprised how much you lose in the mix. Like you take a very, very fine acoustic guitar and you mix it with six other instruments, you've lost a lot of that quality of that guitar. So there's no point having a fine tuned instrument in a band mix, in that setup. Um,
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
yeah.
But in the end, having some fine guitar is, you have the pleasure to play it as well. I mean, it counts too, but it's more for
great.
you.
Yeah, exactly. It's for you.
Yeah.
It really is for
Yeah.
you. It's a comfort and an ease. The only thing I would have to say for a fine instrument is that it doesn't really matter what the sound of an instrument, but you want it to be in tune, and you want the neck to be right, and the instrument to stay in tune throughout. There's nothing worse than picking an instrument and you find out that it gets out of tune after the fifth fret, and now you're fucked because that's the only one you have, and you have to do with that.
That's the issue I have with my classical guitar. But for Last of Us, for example, it's a good example because the atmosphere, the song makes it okay because you have this, South American idea, a little like rough idea in the song. So in the end, it works for that.
Did you watch
But,
the documentary on The Last of Us?
No.
So there's okay, you have to watch it. It's amazing. It's probably one of the best making of documentary for any game I've ever seen. Like it goes through the whole, like all the programming, the graphics, and all that. But
Okay.
it goes to the music and it shows your man who produced it. So what he did is for the
I think stuff on the music actually.
he detuned his guitar. Quite a bit.
Okay.
He detuned it
On purpose.
on purpose, and then he actually detuned all the strings throughout, so it's very, very low. It's still tuned the same, but it's very low. But he says when it's very low,
Okay.
what you get when you press the strings is to get out of tune. So it's on purpose. Like it sounds almost dissonant in a way. The chords aren't, there's an odd quality to the sound of the guitar, which is
Create
fun.
some kind of
Yeah.
harmonics maybe, or
Yeah, it just discomfort, and that this is why it sounds the way it sounds, and it's so gripping, and it grabs you because not
it's excellent idea for sound design actually.
yeah,
For the game, for the atmosphere.
it
of the
grabs you
game.
because it's not out of tune, so you don't go oh, but it's dissonant
It
enough,
creates something.
yeah, that it creates an unease out of something that's actually quite beautifully crafted. It's a very simple tune, but it works really, really well.
Not that easy to play in the end.
Is it
I
not,
mean,
no?
especially when you are not used with maybe not for you because you're a genius with yourself with the guitars and stuff. But I mean for the the I don't know the name, staccato maybe. I don't know. There's a rumbato. There's a name for that. The fact that you have to use your three finger you cycling to get the main rhythm.
Yeah.
And the finger style is not really my thing in guitar. I really need to learn about that more in the future, actually. But when I wanted to play it, it was maybe out of my league, So it was very a pain to record at this time. But
I'll have to try. I have no idea how techniques are called. Like I'm completely agnostic as to music terminology. Like
yeah,
I just play stuff.
I have some, just some reminiscence,
Yeah.
But yeah. In the end, I'm not able to read properly a score. I have to. I'm working on a Materia Collective song right now, and I have some brass section because it's gonna be a funk a song. I'm very pleased to work on this one actually, but that means I have to create some scores for them, and that is already a pain. And for brass, like saxophone and trumpets, they are you have to transpose it, It adds a difficulty. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you understand the concept. But
Yeah.
they are not their A, for example. It's not our A, so you have to switch everything like for 2 tones on the score, and it's totally a pain. I just hate
What
it.
do you mean their A is not our A? It's so they use
It's not the same
ABCD
frequency.
notation, but it's actually down a few.
It's transposed.
Oh, okay. I wasn't aware of that.
Actually, I hope I don't say any bullshit about it, but I'm pretty sure it's that their A is not our A. For them, it's like a C. I know for the trumpet you
Okay.
have to, or maybe the opposite. I don't
So
remember.
they're just
But
for convenience because their instruments, whatever, they start at C, but it's actually not a C in standard notation.
yeah, and
Okay.
if they exactly, and if they just read the score you send them, like for you it's the correct score,
Yeah.
they're gonna record it, and you're gonna have something that is 2 tones below or
Okay.
up
Oh, I
of what
wasn't
you
aware
think.
of it.
So it's
Interesting. Yeah.
exactly not what you want.
Wow.
So you have to
Oh yeah, that's got a
when you
cool
play.
brain.
Yeah, totally. I mean, until now, I was pretty lucky because I did it with subversive assets for the song for of Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah.
I did with you, for example,
Yeah.
or I have incinerary music sometimes on my covers too, and they are very very good and very very kind. So they
Yeah.
do it for me.
Yeah,
But
Insane in the Rain music is yeah, he's another freak of music as well. He's incredibly good.
absolutely,
Yeah.
he's a genius as
Yeah.
well. For me, it's one of the five genius of YouTube. You know.
Yeah, him and Jackson Parody, like, yeah, I'm complete awe of. Yeah, musically, yeah, they're amazing. Subversive Acid is pretty cool. Like he's, I don't know how he's doing. Has he been hit by that YouTube stuff?
Actually, he made it like a few days before the end.
Wow.
He worked very hard to achieve it.
Yeah, he was doing a lot of videos on statistics and
Yeah, he's really into that. That's
he's
very
really
interesting.
into that.
Actually,
Yeah.
it can help us all. Sorry, it can help us all. It's very hard to say. It can help us all. Okay, you understand.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It can help us all. I nearly struggled.
Thank you. It's late.
But um, yeah, it's. I don't know. I never put much time or thought into analytics. I have to say, like, I just. I don't know. I just do all my stuff.
I probably think it's too much work. I don't want to do it anymore. I just put some tags, pretty okay, and that's
Yeah,
fine for me.
likewise,
I think it's
yeah.
too much work for that doesn't worth it.
Like, do you ever think I'm gonna do this cover because it's gonna get me views? Like, I don't. I personally, I don't. It's easy for us to say, but I never consider views or
I don't
popularity.
as well. Maybe that's why I'm only at 4,000. Maybe I don't know. My girlfriend is always telling me that I should cover that. I should cover that, and I should try to
Or
get the
yourself
advantage
out.
of the hype.
I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, but
I've never done it.
I mean, it's for fun. I mean, it's for
Yeah.
fun. I want to do a song I want to do. That's all. And if I have to force myself, yeah, it's kind of an issue for me.
Yeah, especially when you're talking about artistic stuff. Again, it was Jackson. I had a very interesting topic on his channel one day. He was talking about, should you set out and and his point of view, which I actually don't agree with, but I know where he's coming from, and I completely understand it. Was if you're trying to make a living off that, well, you have to pay the bills.
It's not the same.
It's not the
It's a
same.
very different way.
It's a different exit.
It's an interesting as well, of
Yeah,
course.
you have to obviously play stuff that you might not be either familiar or entirely pleased with or enthusiastic about, but it's just part of the. If you're trying to make a living, you have to treat your art as a job. Suddenly, like
Yeah,
you and
absolutely.
I have a job, so we're in the lucky position that we don't have to rely on YouTube for our
Yeah.
sustenance.
So it's a good. It's interesting too. I mean, if you have to do it for a living, like that means you are 100% of your time is for music. So I assume it's a good thing as well. But of course, it comes with the downside of the fact it's a job, and
Yeah,
that way you have to do some things that sometimes you just don't want to do. If we don't want to play music, we just don't play some music. There's no consequences with that. And I mean, I like that because like right now I didn't want to play for a few weeks just because you have some stuff to
yeah,
taken care of and stuff like that. If it's your job, you just can't do that. And for an artistic, I'm gonna do it for an artistic job like that. You can't afford to not do it
yeah.
or
No, you can't
having
afford
some
to not do it.
downside.
I before I moved to the west of Ireland, I lived in Dublin for a long time, and one year that was just before I moved. But I left my job. I something just very unpleasant happened at work, so I left my job. Just fuck it all, and I decided, you know what, because I had a few gigs already. I was doing regular sessions in Dublin, like traditional music. We're talking about traditional Irish music, and I was doing a few of these. So I knew I could actually sign on the um, social register, and get some minor income from that, and supplement that with extra money from music. In fact, I actually didn't need to do that, and I stopped signing on because I was earning. I was surviving, so I was earning enough
Yeah.
money from music to survive. But I did it for a year, and I did it for 8 months, and it was probably the most unpleasant 8 months of my life, because
Oh, yeah.
it was a
You talked to me
grind.
about.
Yeah, it was really a grind, and it was really tough because suddenly music was about putting money on the table, paying the rent, paying the bills, and all that money that used to be pocket money that I was happy to enjoy to go out and drink with, and suddenly I had to save and worry about, and not being sure the next, every week where the money was going to come from for the next week or month. It was a very
Unpleasant.
very unpleasant experience, actually, and it ruined my musical experience of what I was doing. Because suddenly I had to play music, not because I wanted to, but because I had to. I had no choice.
You had
And
to, yeah.
yeah, and I was doing well. Like, I was playing like 4 nights, 5 nights a week. Like, it was just. Um, so I became actually very proficiently good, but I wasn't learning any new material either, which, for an artist is the worst possible situation. Like, you're just rehashing the same stuff, and
Becomes mechanical.
yeah, and then I moved to the west of Ireland. I found a job here, and swore I would never play live again because it actually ruined it for me. So I do a lot of live kind of chat with subscribers on the channel, and they often, one of the comments that pops up every now and then is play something, and I'm like, no, actually no, I'm done. Like, I don't play live. I've been asked like to play at festivals as well, or conventions, and I know I have to decline, like, because it has ruined it for me, which is a really sad thing to do. But then again, I've done it for 30 years, and I'm at a point in my life where I can actually enjoy making music in my own terms, which is the great thing about YouTube, what
That's
you're
a good
doing as
way.
well. We get to play music in our own terms. I think that's the beauty
Yeah,
of it.
if there wasn't that or big political issue with YouTube and stuff like that, it would actually be pretty fine.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't need more for now. So
So what's your outlook? Are you doing more covers, less frequently, more
um, uh,
frequently, or are you just doing the same?
for the next month,
For whenever for you
actually,
can.
I will do it again because I didn't release anything since September for live and stuff. But things is going to be back again. For now, I think I'm gonna try to stick to my old frequency, which is like once a month,
Yeah.
because I think it's a pretty good balance between life and that, and the fact that at the same time now I'm working for songs that gonna be on albums, like for Material Collective,
Oh yeah.
one per month for my channel, and those videos are on my channel as well, of course, but I have to find time to do that as well, so once a month it's pretty good. If I can stick to that again, I will be pretty happy, and then we will see. I mean, the YouTube stuff doesn't change anything about
Yeah.
how I see it for now, but if one day they try to respect us, it could be a little better, I think.
That would be great,
We'll
wouldn't
see.
it? I think we talked about it briefly, but I think, I mean, we can blame YouTube to some extent. I think a lot of it has to be put as well on how we consume content in general. And when I say consume, I mean literally just consume it, as opposed to appreciate it and enjoy it. So I think that's why a lot of vlog channels that you consume because you don't have to have any appreciation for the work that came into it are very popular because people can just watch them like they would eat junk food, you know. And it clashes with what we do, which is an artistic exercise where we put a lot of time and effort and some of ourselves into it, and it's those two worlds collide, and the vlog thing or the prank thing or those type of channels seems to be on the winning side, and artists in general are on the losing end of it.
There's an artist actually that I have in mind that I watch. It's one of the few guys I watch very regularly. Maybe you know him. It's he was very famous a few years ago because he made a machine, a marble machine,
Oh yeah.
to play music. Wintergarten.
Yeah,
It's
Wintergarten.
called. Now he's making another one, and it mixes a few things I love in YouTube. I mean, my own, my very, how can I say it? My mon péché mignon in English. My
Guilty pleasure.
my something I'm not very proud of it, but I like to watch it on
Your
YouTube.
guilty
It's
pleasure.
all this. Yeah, my guilty pleasure. I like to watch things about mechanical stuff or
Yeah.
how it's made.
Yeah, it's
Technical
hypnotic.
stuff. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a guy who is this guy is making a new machine, a new marble machine, and this guy is a genius in this. I used it a few times now, but he's a total genius. I mean, he's a very very good engineer. He's a very very good musician. He's a very very good visionary. He creates a machine from nothing, and he making vlog. He's making vlog every Wednesday about how he making his machine. It's not only vlog because he shows the process. He shows how he build the pieces.
Yeah, it's
And
musical
it's
engineering.
very very interesting because
Yeah, it's musical
he's
engineering.
mixing all, and it's excellent.
There's another guy. He was actually he was viral just a few days ago with his Furby organ. Have you seen that? It's an English guy.
I've seen that pass. I think I saved it for later. I
I
need
followed
to
his
watch
channel
it.
a while back because he does a lot of electronic stuff, but he makes everything himself pretty much. So it's all
Okay, I need to check it out.
oscillators and all that kind of stuff. And he's
Oh, great.
wild, very kind of punk sort of setup, and yeah, really really cool. I recommend it. I forgot his name now. He's in my subscription feed, so whenever he has a new video, he comes up. It's just really cool. I love people like that, and then like I do a lot of electronics myself. Like I have my electronics bench there. I actually got rid of my
Yeah, I
old
understand.
cabinet. The big wrecked cab.
That's great.
No, I got
There's a guy making his own synthesizers from nothing, and he's using many weird stuff. Like recently, he created a model where he put the fidget spinner or something,
yeah.
and when he make his turn, and it creates some kind of analogic wobbles.
Okay, I got it. Yeah, I know.
This guy is a genius. I don't know if he found it actually as well, but he has like a wall in his house where he created a modulation synthesizers from nothing. It's brilliant. I'm just into that electronic music from very not long ago, and I'm learning how a synthesizer works.
Yeah,
And it's actually amazingly interesting.
You got a.
But,
one of those, I have one here as well. I've used it for a few covers, but the MPK, the Akai or Akai. MPK music
Akai, yeah.
controller, yeah. I saw you got one of these. They're fun, like they're super fun. And yeah, well,
This little thing, that's great. That's great
but
for
this
the-
is actually I've linked that to my recording software. So this is how I press the notes and we can switch
I
between all
should-
these. Yeah, it's really cool. I've used it for last year actually, at the end of last year for a Castlevania cover. But
Yeah, I intend to use it very soon.
So aside from music, and I think it's probably going to be my last question. I don't have anything written down. I'll just actually, I'll probably.
Yeah, we are talking a lot.
I know.
I love it, but I hope it's fun for you.
It is. No, I just love chatting to people. This is one of my regrets I have. Well, not regrets, but it's just. I've.
We have to take the time to do it, but
It's really hard. We don't take the time to chat, like people in general, to chat. Like whenever I interact with people, it's either it's at work, you don't get to chat,
or in real life when they come
have a
in.
conversation, or in you go out socializing, in a pub, but there's alcohol involved, and it becomes a Twitter feed after a while. You don't have a discussion when there's alcohol involved, and there's other people involved, and we've met.
It's a different kind of discussion.
It's different kind of discussion, but it's that's
it can create interesting ideas, actually.
I've had a whiskey.
Oh, you should have told me, because I wait to open a bottle of beer from half an hour now.
you can go have it if you want, but I think that no, it's one of the thing, like people don't take time to have proper conversations, even on when this is why I didn't want this to be an interview either, because there's an interview, it's a one directional sort of conversation, as opposed to just back and forth and just exchanging ideas. I might be wrong, you might be wrong, or something. It's just it's a more interesting format, I think, and
the discussion is better.
Yeah, it's really hard even in real life. Like I've a few very good friends here, and it's whenever we meet, it's usually our wives are here, or there's other friends, or so we don't have time for the conversation for some reason. So I think this is actually a very okay format for this. I think it's working well, actually. We didn't have any issues with this. But I wanted to ask you, aside from music and your work, you do sort of development work, is it? Or you?
Yeah, I'm in development. Yeah.
Yeah. But do you have any other hobbies? I know your partner loves art, fine art, and that kind of stuff. She has her own channel.
Certainly, she absolutely not. It's she tried to make some English subtitles now, so go check it out.
But do you have any other hobbies other than music then, or do you know anything else? Or
photography. I'm pretty new in the world of photography, but I absolutely love it, and I'm making it more and more. It takes more and more time and more money. So after music, photography is a great place to spend your money.
We're in the digital age, so photography has never been cheaper, though.
It's and that way it can help as well for the video, trying to work the composition and the lights and stuff like that. But that's why I try to make some photos, and actually I'm enjoying that a lot. So before I was doing only on vacation and holidays, even if I do it a lot on the holidays. I have to show you my album, by the way.
From Ireland. Yeah, I'd love to see.
I have a great picture of your dog. I have to send you.
It's funny because I've seen a lot of Ireland, but whenever I've people visiting or coming over, or friends, there's always a few pictures and go, where the fuck is that? Like this is not a place I've been to. I always discover.
There's so many things different in Ireland that I'm pretty sure, even if you live there for is how much now? 20 years?
I've been here. So I'm 42. I'll be 43 this year. I've been here 22 years. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Even though I'm pretty sure there's so much to discover yet.
Yeah, after a while you're just busy living, But plus, I'm lucky. I don't live in an ugly part of Ireland.
Excuse me?
I don't live. I live in a very nice part of Ireland. So.
Oh yeah. I second that. It's amazing where you live. I love it.
So I'm lucky. I don't
beautiful.
feel like I need to go explore much of the rest of Ireland, because I'm very lucky to live where I live. The downside is, it's in the middle of nowhere, and it's hard to get to.
Yeah.
But you found it when you were here.
And that's so the photography and the travels are the thing I love to do. But
you were in the States
again, it takes time. I was in November, and I spend all my money right now in travels, because we are going to Japan end of March.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
That's what I wait. Like it's my one of my dream of my life. That's 20 years now. I want to do it, and we are finally going to do it. So I have no more money. So after that, I have to work.
I've heard it's an expensive
dream,
to get to.
Actually, we were pretty lucky with that. We found a good flight. The hotel we you go for Airbnb and stuff like that. It's not that expensive, but the transportation. it seems to be very expensive, but it's like a dream. It's so different. It's what I love in travel. It's so different. So you learn things actually. You go there, and 2 weeks after that, I don't want to be a cliche, but yeah, you're kind of a new person. You
Yeah,
discovered so many new things, seen so many new things that it's just, yeah, it's for me, it's one of the main reasons to live. After the music, is to discover what you can
it,
see and taste and everything.
it depends how you travel as well. I mean, I've seen a lot of people traveling with a very closed mind and not appreciating a country the way. But I think if you bring your expectations, or if you bring your very closed-mindedness, it's a weird thing to say, but if you get out of a country what you bring into it, when you travel. And I've seen a lot of people
It's hard to put
not,
yourself
yeah,
out and just be able to be a sponge to what you're gonna
yeah,
see and hear and
and not to simply enjoy a country by comparing it to your own or what you know already. Like it's a very hard exercise to do, but if you're able to do that, it's a very very enriching experience. I
I
think
assume it
the
depends
worst.
of the country.
Yeah. It depends on where you go as well, I suppose.
So yeah, what did you say?
No, I was going to say I think the worst thing you can do is to go somewhere with expectations to find your own country and more.
Yeah,
It's not how traveling works. It's not how countries are.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
I see that a lot
That's
here. People from Europe coming here, and French people, obviously, because I understand the language, coming here, and I overhear conversations and comments, and you go, well, you can't expect the same stuff you would find in France here, because it's not France, so you can,
yeah,
if you
absolutely.
come with expectations to find your own country and something else, it's not going to work for you.
I
But
don't
if
really see the point to do that actually. So
hmm?
I don't see the point of thinking like that actually. I mean, if you expect to see what you already know, what's the point? I mean,
Yeah, but you'd be surprised how many people travel like that. I've seen it a lot,
hmm.
especially
But
on
for some
booked,
countries, not. Yeah, yeah, I see what you mean.
organized
But
holidays. Yeah.
for some country, it's hard because I have in mind the USA. USA is part of our life. I mean, we watch movies, we
Yeah.
see many stuff coming from there, and when you go there for the first time, it's like you already know. I don't
Yeah.
know if you went and if you had this experience, but it looks like a movie to you. You're there. Oh yeah, I know this thing. Oh no, yeah, I feel that. I've seen that in many movies, and it's like you are yourself in the movie. And, it's not real life. It's very hard. So it's not like you're going and expect to see friends, but you already know what you're
Yeah.
gonna see, and it's very weird experience.
Yeah, I worked and lived in the States for about 8 months. It was part of a work arrangement with my
Oh,
my company.
where?
I was in Santa Monica in Los Angeles, so right on Venice Beach. So I mean,
Okay, like
yeah,
the movies.
and if it was early 2000s. Um, Everything was paid for. Like, money was no object. It was quite ridiculous times before the big crash, yeah, I had a company car. Like, I was 21, with a company car in Los Angeles. Like, I was happy out, but yeah, it was quite amazing because I sort of recognized most of the places that I'd seen in films and series and all that. Like, and suddenly I was there and going, this is actually where a place where people live. They live in a movie set. Like, this is quite weird.
It's real people actually.
Yeah, it was a yeah.
I assume if you spend a few weeks, in the end, everything is settled down. But yeah, the first couple of days was very weird for me.
Yeah, afterwards, like, after it took me a good, well, again, I was just so appreciative of where I was, and I enjoyed every single minute. And then I was playing music there as well. I met some really really cool people. Some people I'm still in contact with, these days, and
That's
we're
nice.
friends. They've come here, and we've gone over to them, and but Yeah, no, it's the dust never quite settled because every night, especially LA and New York are just so special as well. You know, it's like you could live there all your life, and you always get a moment where you go, "I'm in LA." Fuck. You wake up and you go, "Shit, I'm in LA." You know, so yeah, I'd get
Yeah,
used to
it
it
was the
after a
same
few
New York
months,
for
and
me.
then
Yeah.
I'd wake up one morning and go, "Shit, I live in LA right now." Like it's I was offered a job actually there to stay, but I didn't take it. It just yeah, the money wasn't right, and then the living condition, the living would have cost too much just to live on the salary. Anyway, yeah, I wanted to come back to Ireland because that's where my
Yeah.
heart was really.
Actually, it was in the end of my trip because it was only a trip. I never lived anywhere else than France. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna like living in New York. It was yeah, maybe because of the price or something like that. But actually, I start at the end. I started to see the things I don't really like.
Yeah, of
Like the
course.
traffic, the people. It's yeah. I like Ireland. If I have to choose, it could be Scotland or Ireland. Maybe
Yeah,
both are very great places, I think, to live. But
France isn't a
again,
bad
not
place to live in.
it's not that bad as well. It depends where, of course, because it's not that a little country in the end. You have very different state of mind
Yeah, yeah,
depending on where you are in France. So, but yeah, of course, there's some very beautiful places to go. I mean,
yeah.
when you are from a country, it's um, you don't always enjoy what you have just not far from yourself, for your home. So
Yeah,
sometimes it's good to see a little what you have in your country.
France is interesting. There's one interesting thing about like actually America and France have a lot of things in common. So the main holiday destination for people in America is America, and the main holiday destination for people in France is France. Now you could say that of a lot of countries, but predominantly French people and American people holiday in their own country, and one of the reason is that it's so varied. Like France, for such a small country, because when you look at it objectively on the map, it is a small country, has such a variety of
Absolutely,
landscapes and climates and cultures. You know, if you go to the northeast, the culture is going to be drastically different than in the north west in Brittany, and it's going to be so
absolutely.
different from what's in the south. Like I'm not talking about a bit different, drastically different from the stuff you
It's
eat.
drastically different. I agree
Yeah,
with that. For living, I lived in different places like that, and
yeah,
it's apart from the language. Sometimes it's almost feels like it's another country.
yeah, yeah,
It's amazing.
yeah. It's such a diverse country, and I know you can't say that about a lot of countries, but I've traveled quite a lot, and I've lived in a few places in the
Yeah,
world, and France,
it's pretty true for France.
yeah, is incredibly diverse. It's a very interesting country, and I'm not just saying that because I am French.
I agree.
Yeah. My friend, I think we've been talking for an hour and 15 minutes or so. So
I, I'm fine with that. I just hope for you it's fine and
it's
for the
absolutely
viewers
fine. I can
as
talk
well.
for hours, and I thoroughly enjoy talking to people. But
Yeah,
I'm more worried about you because it's quite late
it
for
will
you.
be a too long video, I think.
I don't mind that.
But
I don't know. I don't know if anyone will watch this, and I don't know if anyone will like it. But I still want to do this because I want to have conversations with people. That's the
I loved it. I loved it. It
yeah,
was a
cool,
very
cool.
good
Yeah, no, I'm
thing to
glad. I
have
mean,
with
that was
you.
the first try. I think it went well. I think. Well, actually, you let us know in the comments. But I'm just going to plug your channel. It's Lord Biff Music on YouTube,
Thank you.
and this is it. Let's see if I can put it up there. This is it, Lord Biff Music on YouTube. Um, do check it out. Actually, it's really cool. Oh, and actually, the first one that's going to come is you still have that as your main introduction
The
video.
Crash Bandicoot. Yeah, actually, it's one of the video I really like,
I really
especially
enjoyed
because
it.
there's
Actually,
some very cool people.
it sounds pretty cool.
There's
Like
pretty cool people.
it was cool to have a subversive asset on that because he was really driving it with the sax as well. Like it's really cool. But thank you very much for
I love
doing
to
that.
work with him as well.
Yeah, likewise.
Thanks.
Hopefully, I'll get to do something with him. We need to collaborate with him at some point. But
I'm sure he will be happy for that.
you're on Twitter as well. Is it Lord Biff Music?
main social networks. Yeah, Lord Myth Music everywhere.
And
Facebook, Twitter.
you have a Patreon or something like that if people want to. Which, by the way,
Patreon.
is for what we do is the single most best way to support our cause and our art. Patreon,
Yeah,
YouTube,
absolutely.
even with a lot of views, isn't cutting it. That's just it's because it isn't. So Patreon or Bandcamp, or support us on one of these if you want. So anyway,
Or just listening to the music on Spotify on stuff like that
yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
us. Put
How
them
do you
there.
feel about
I'm trying to
Spotify?
do it now. I don't know.
Actually, how do you feel about Spotify?
I'm fine with that. I mean,
Me too.
we have that brand, Sounddrop or DistroKid, uh, depending of what you are willing to
Yeah,
spend, because it costs you some money
yeah,
in the end, at first,
yeah.
especially for Sounddrop. Like, I don't know if you know the system about that, but
I'm one of the featured artists on Sounddrop.
oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, I remember about that. You were on the front
Yeah,
page. Congratulations about that,
thank
actually.
you. But yeah,
So yeah,
you have to pay for licensing fees on Sounddrop. It's about a
yeah, you pay
nine
like,
ninety
yeah,
nine.
but it's what, lifetime for one cover.
Yeah,
So
nine
I
ninety nine
used to
for a
expect
song that you cover, but it's still, if you have an album of 10 songs or more, it's gonna cost you 100 or
plus
something.
royalties, of course,
Yeah,
after that.
so you have to pay up front to get your stuff licensed on iTunes and Spotify. So you are on that.
Just for the few I worked on Material Collective, but I'm trying to do it for a few covers now. I'm gonna do that very soon. So you asked me, I don't know because I didn't really do it until now. I know it's making more money than the ads on YouTube, so
Yeah.
for that it's always better. So I don't know what you think about it because you are on it for longer than me and you're
No,
using
I've
it.
yeah, I've been on it since I started the channel. I put all my stuff out straight away. Like at the time, it
Okay,
wasn't Sounddrop. It was Louder, and
louder.
they weren't
Yeah.
charging. But yeah, I'm fine if they're charging.
It changed a lot in a few years
But
because
the
it was
truth,
such a very
yeah,
little low place.
I've had a discussion with Dave from Mariachi Entertainment System, and he feels very strongly against Spotify. But
Oh
like
yeah.
you said, which is what I said to him, said it's actually making more money. You're getting more money out of that than from YouTube. So it's you have to fight your battles. Like, if I understand what you mean, but then you go after YouTube in the first place.
Thinks it's not enough for Spotify, for example.
Yeah, no, he thinks it's not, it's not paid enough, which, it's not a lot either. But I mean, I am making more money from
No, but you have to add iTunes as well.
yeah.
I don't know if some people take it from Amazon MP3, some stuff like that, but
Yeah, there's
I
Deezer, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, all these kind of streaming platforms. It all adds up.
major platforms. Yeah.
Yeah, it all adds up, and at the end, it generates more revenue for an musical artist.
At
That
my level, it seems pretty okay, but so that's why I want to put more on that. I have only three or four on that because of the albums, and it already made more than
yeah.
anything else.
So
Uh,
yeah, there
so
is an upfront
I
fee,
mean,
but you have it covered over a month or two, like, already. So you know. But anyway, thank you very much, dudes. Really appreciate it. It was actually, yeah, it was very
thank you
enjoyable,
for
and
inviting me.
I'm glad we did it like that. Uh, and we'll have you again. We'll try next time we come to Ireland. We'll do it live here.
Sure, I will work on my accent and maybe not
You
being
did
so
very well,
hesitating with
dude. You did
my words.
very well. I mean, my English
Thank
isn't
you very
perfect,
much.
but you did excellent for somebody. Actually, not even for somebody who
Thank you.
doesn't live here. Like, for a non-native speaker, it's you did really, really well. Do you have to speak English for
I
at
try
work?
to. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay. So you get to.
I mean, for all my coworkers, that's usually pretty older than me. I'm like a bilingual for them. I mean, they have very very strong French accents, and
Yeah.
that's
My siblings
in
don't
the end.
speak English either. But okay. Well,
Oh,
look
okay.
at we
In France, we have it's another topic for the next time.
Oh no, please go ahead. We've all.
No, we couldn't speak of it we could speak of it for hours. So we have to make some stop
I have
at a point.
no time or agenda or for this, so we can take an hour, we can take half an hour, or we can take 3 hours. I don't care. I just want to talk to people.
Okay, quickly on that. The only point is that in France we don't have a very good culture of learning
Yeah,
outside languages. I
yeah,
think, and all my English is coming from movies and stuff like that. I mean, the one I learned on school was just extremely bad, you know, and only the kids that are very very into it, younger, have a very good
yeah.
English after high school, you know. For many of us, it was after that, when watching movies, when listening to music, and I think it's a big problem. So of course, that means many French people are not very good with languages, but it's not a fatality. You can
No,
change
I
that. But
I think it's getting better because I'm seeing a lot more of French speakers with, like yourself, very good English skills, and I think it's partly due to people. Well, I used to blame French television in general because films were dubbed. You know, we didn't have subtitles.
yeah,
Films
I
were actually
understand.
translated and dubbed in French, which was always weird. But the people didn't have to make that effort because that content was brought to them in their language. Even when I was a kid at the time, we were often given the example of Scandinavian countries or German, even Germany.
Yeah,
Not always
yeah,
because they dubbed a lot of stuff as well, but they had a lot of more English content that was subtitled. So it's a bit more of an effort, but first it's very good for your brain to have to do two things at once, and then you pick up stuff.
absolutely.
I remember when I was in college, no, in school, and I was in boarding school, so I'd sleep at the school all week, and then the Friday night I'd come back. I'd come back home, and all my friends would go out either drinking or smoking or playing computers on a Friday, which I did anyway. I'd go on the Saturday and Sunday with them, but my Friday I always wanted to spend at home. I wasn't to be with my parents necessarily, but it was because they had I don't know. We had an extra channel at some point, or with the cable, the fourth channel, and there was loads of other channels you can get with it. But I remember at 11 p.m. they had showings of Seinfeld and Frasier. Now, I didn't really. Seinfeld is a comedy show, and Frasier is, they're both comedy shows. I don't know if you're familiar with them anyway. It's
No, that doesn't ring a bell, but okay.
Jerry Seinfeld is a American comedian, but anyway, so I would watch a lot of
Okay,
that because it was actually in English. It wasn't dubbed, and it was subtitled, so I could actually listen to a lot of English and be exposed to that. And that was just
very very young.
yeah, just in school. And I had an interest in languages anyway because my mother used to send me to England every year. She had pen pal. Some when you're in school,
Yeah,
yeah, so they stay in touch after like 20, 40 years or whatever.
that's a good
Yeah, it
story.
was
Like
cool, but so my mother would send me to her friend, and their kids would actually come over for 2 weeks, so we'd do that for a month. uh,
so you were confronted to English very
yeah, I
early
was
and
exposed to it quite a bit, and then so
exposed, not
yeah, I
confronted.
had a yeah, I had a natural inclination to want to learn more because I wanted to be better the next time I went over. So I did. I learned. I tried to learn as much as I could outside school by just watching programs in English. But I think nowadays with the internet, with Netflix, with all these formats, with YouTube, which is actually probably a good thing. People are exposed to it a
Or
lot more.
even cinema in Paris, for example, you have a lot of movies in
Oh, really? Yeah.
original, only subtitles. So yeah,
That's great.
now obviously only on big cities, I assume, but every movie I watch it in English now. So
Yeah. No, the thing.
for a long time, right? For a long time now, but
Yeah, things are moving in the right direction, and a lot more people are
I think
becoming
so too.
bilingual or at least fluent in
Younger
both
youngers
and younger.
younger generation now
Yeah,
is almost
yeah,
already very they are confronted to
yeah.
exposed to to English very very early now.
And
So
it's,
that's
I mean, it's
perfect.
so important. It's such an asset. I can't stress this enough. I mean, for people or even for English speakers, having another language other than your own language is such an asset. For you first, because it just it does stuff to your head that you wouldn't think. It actually just broadens the way you speak your own language. Um,
Yeah, and the younger the better. So
yeah. Although that said, my French is getting worse and worse. I really am
oh yeah,
struggling.
you think so?
I'm struggling with a lot of
Okay,
words
we
that
have
shouldn't.
to we have to speak more often in French, so you don't lose it.
Yeah, we'll do it off camera.
But
Yeah,
yeah, sure. But about the language is the fact that you learn it very early is very important, I think, though, because you can your brain at the age is a sponge, so you
yeah,
can absorb it very very easy. Right now, I'm trying to learn a little some Japanese to be able to to do some a few stuff in Japan. And I remember learning that in my first years of university because I wanted to learn Japanese for a long time. So it's many years now that I learn, stop, learn, stop, learn, stop. And there's a few things that stay in my brain. But compared to even Deutsch, I mean, Deutsch, I don't speak Deutsch for like that maybe 10 years. I had a little formation in a training course in Germany once
you
for
mean
the job, and
German?
that's all.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, German. Sorry, not Dutch. And I mean, yeah, I still remember some stuff of German, even if I was very very bad at it. And Japanese, I have to relearn almost every time. You know, the younger the better for a foreign language, and
Yeah. Well,
it's a very good thing that we are going in the good direction for
yeah.
the younger generation about
Japanese
that.
is especially tough. I mean, any because you
Not
can
that much actually.
yeah, well, we can say that German is tough or that is Spanish or whatever, but they're still Indo-European languages. They follow a very
Yeah, I understand what you mean, but
structure
in the
we'll
end,
be familiar with in with the subject, verb, object, and that kind of stuff. You get into Asian languages and the language gets very different because their way of seeing life is very different. It's
for from languages like Chinese or Vietnamese, I agree. Japanese is a little different though because
it's
in the end
more
you
down to
can
earth. Yeah,
you yeah it's you can conceive it as a subject, objects,
yeah, that's true.
verbs,
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. And the rules are actually very very simple. Some of the rules, not always, but some of the rules are very simple. Like you have almost no gender, no plurals, not really. There's no really conjugation. There's only a few words
Yeah.
to learn and how to construct the phrase. And the most difficult, I think, is to remember all the vocabulary because everything looks the same. I mean, there's not a lot of different sounds you can pronounce in Japanese. That means everything. If you're not able to cut the words the sentences into words, it's very hard to understand. But if you start a little, it's
Yeah.
very not that hard to understand a few rudiments. But of course, the fact that it's a completely different way of thinking. I mean, I strongly believe that how you think is strongly connected to the language
Yeah.
itself and how you can formulate some sentences and formulate some ideas.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
of course, there's a
that's
very
why I was
major
saying. Like,
difference.
if you have a second language, it actually helps your brain you understand different things and different concepts, and it's. I mean, multilingualism is a fascinating topic. It's one I studied for years in college. Like, it does, yeah, it does stuff to your brain that actually help you in your own language as well and express yourself better in your own language. It's quite amazing to watch, but it's a hard exercise. I've seen people who can speak like 4 or 5 more languages fluently, and I'm always in awe, like, because
I'm so
I'm
jealous.
actually not naturally very good with languages. I was just exposed to English very early, and got to practice. But it's like with music, some people can pick up an instrument and they'll be good in 2 weeks. I've seen that happen with people
Yeah,
with guitar. Like, they understood it. They like, and I'm like 20
yeah,
years
that's it.
later, and I'm
They understand
struggling
the
to
way of
stuff they picked up in
thinking.
2 weeks. Like, And they can pick any instrument and be like that. It's sickening. I hate them. But
Yeah, me too.
yeah, it's fascinating. Because it is another language again. So yeah. Anyway, dude, thank you very much again. I'm going to say that so many times tonight.
Thanks to you again. Thanks to
It was
you.
super
It was
fun.
very
We
good.
definitely have to do it again, and I want to do it again as well to see who I can interview next. But folks, check out Lord Biff Music on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, everywhere you hear about Lord Biff Music. Help him out. Actually, you just do you need much to get over that threshold?
Excuse me?
Do you
Say
need
again?
much to get over the 4,000 hour threshold?
Oh yeah, like the double.
Double. Okay, well, folks, help him out. He
like
needs
yeah,
he needs double. So
it's fine.
yeah, no, it's not fine. He needs double. Support artists. We're doing stuff for free. Support us. Help us. Please.
Thanks, man, and support every artist you want
yeah.
because they all need that, and that's important.
Awesome, dude. Thank you very much, and until next time. Whatever.
Thanks.
I
See you
have
guys.
to finish this.